Welcome once again to Humanist Africa. You are most welcome to Humanist Africa. This is your channel where we always meet and share ideas, have great interviews, get to know people, and learn from their good works. My name is Katom Kassan. In the studio is Dennis Bongole, who is based in Nairobi, Kenya, to do the production. I want to encourage you to join HTV by subscribing to Humanist Africa. And of course, as you can see on the screen, our subscription handle is right there. Please subscribe to YouTube or our Facebook page, which is Humanist Africa. But also, we encourage you to send us an email. Our email is info@humanisttvafrica.com. Please write to us. Our email is info@humanisttvafrica.com. Also, send us a WhatsApp message. The number is +254 25474 735677. Write to us, and of course, our communication director, our spokesperson, and the people in charge of communication will be able to respond to you. Now, we want to open up studios wherever you are. We want to be working with you. You may want to join us, may want to be a partner with us, you may want to be a panelist, you want to be a guest, or a volunteer working with us. Please consider sending us an email today or a WhatsApp message, and our team will be able to reach out to you. This is Humanist Africa, and our role, our target is to share information with you, to educate, of course, to learn from you, to inform, to empower, and to entertain, giving you the most balanced information, the most balanced education, the most balanced news that you can ever get on a secular channel. This is Humanist Africa. We are based all over the world. We are a virtual TV station, of course, with physical studios in Uganda, Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, UK, USA, and you're opening up more branches everywhere in the world. If you want to join us, we want to encourage you to please write to us, and we shall be able to open up a studio in your country and be able to work with you. Now, most welcome to another episode of Humanist Interviews, where we get the most exciting humanists all over the world, and we discuss with them. In today's interview, we go back to India, one of the most fantastic parts of the world, and we shall be hosting a friend, a comrade. His name is Avinash Patil, and he is going to be sharing with us what is going on in India and what rationalists are doing in India. Remember, our guest today is from India, and that is Mr. Avinash Patil, who is going to be sharing with us in the studios. Welcome with me, Mr. Patil Avinash. In the studio, our guest is from India, and of course, this is the Humanist Interview. You are most welcome, Mr. Avinash Patil.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
I'm very happy to join Humanist TV of Africa.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And we are extremely proud to have you on the show. This is Humanist Interviews, and our guest is Mr. Avinash Patil from India. He is a leader of Mind, and of course, he's going to be telling us about Mind, and of course, another organization called FIRA is a leader of Indian rationalists right there. India has over 1 billion people, and when we say humanists coming up, we know they're doing a lot of good work. Mr. Avinash Patil, tell our viewers, of course, in an introduction, who is the gentleman before us? Who is Mr. Avinash Patil?
Yeah. I'm very happy to talk with our all viewers, seeing now Humanist TV of Africa. I'm Avinash Ramesh Patil as a Indian rationalist and humanist activist from last 35 years. I'm by education as a civil engineer. After some year of I have done government and private work as a government construction, civil construction professional, and from since 1996, I'm a full-time social worker. Being born as a middle class working family, the middle class mentality and needs of parents left the expectation that their child should get a proper education, stand on his own with his own earning and run the family. But cutting through it, a young man like me was obsessed with playing cricket first and making my career in cricket in 1980s and 1990s. Later, after being introduced to the social progressive thoughts streams and coming in contact with the office bearers of their work organizations, the craze for engaging in social work arose. For that, during primary and secondary education, after birth, the culture and experiences gained in the educational environment of a city like Pune, based in Maharashtra, were influenced. Also, the awareness of reading and being aware of the surroundings from parents help to acquire some sanskar and develop a pre-primary attitude. Also, the influence of association of teachers receiving junior college and higher education was useful. Along with that, in Pune and other cities of our state, during the education of civil engineering, the initiative of the work to solve the problems of the students started in life in the organized form of social work. The introduction of the ideas of democracy, socialism, secularism, and nationalism in the Chhatrabati, an organization of poor and rural students, created a background to prepare casteless society and secular society work. During that time, the association with all leaders like Dr. Narendra Davolkar is also, who were the guiding advisor in the work of Chhatrabati, our organized students organization, also had an impact on me. In the Maharashtra's Khandesh region, the Ammalner district, I have the along with solo of workers, the Rashtra Seva Dal, the organizations working for the independence of our country, India. And so, on the basis of socialist ideas, started participating in the work of that students' organizations and the organization working for eradication of superstition and blind faith. And during that, the activity in the work of education, eradicating superstitions increased through the context of Dr. Narendra Davolkar, the founder person. When the foundation of Maharashtra Andhashota Niman Samiti, the committee for eradicate superstition
Yes, Mr. Avinash Patil, right there, telling us what his background is, of course, in terms of working with that organization, Minds. Mans and FIRA in India. And of course, Brian, if you can hear me, I would request you to put me back on the screen, and then we shall be able to reconnect with our dear guest in the studio. Of course, you are going to excuse us for, of course, having these network issues, but of course, in the studio with us is our guest from India, Mr. Avinash Patil. He is taking us through his brief background and how he came to be working with this organization in India. Remember, he has just told us that he has been working with it for the last 35 years. What an incredible work being done right there in India. Remember, India, one of the biggest countries in the world, most populous countries in the world, with lots of people, and of course, people believing in different ideologies, different goals, and having so much to offer to the world. Mr. Avinash Patil, of course, we have challenges of the
Yeah,
network, but we are together with you. Please,
yeah,
may you
yeah.
continue from where
Sorry
you stop.
for disturbance. Yeah, okay.
You were talking about your how you began this work with MANS, state
Yeah,
president of MANS, and I'm encouraging you to please continue, share with our
yeah,
audience how you came to do this kind of work you are doing with MANS, and of course what this
yeah.
one means. And I understand you are the vice president of FILA. What is FILA and what
Yeah,
does FILA do? What does MANS do? Let us look at that
yes,
now.
yes,
Mm.
definitely. Yeah, I'm from students' life. I'm associated with the organization MANS, that is the Committee for Eradication of Superstition and Blind Faith, and with also inculcating scientific temperament in society. And from 1988-89, this organization is stand up and initiated by founder executive president Dr. Narendra Dabulkar. Dr. Narendra Dabulkar is the veteran leader of socialist ideology based and good coordinator, organizer, and passionately work for to organize this anti-superstition work activist. And around 12 years after him, after 2 years from 2010, I am the executive president of this organization, and that contribute my best in the work of this my Maharashtra Superstition Eradication Committee as an organization, and that lays the foundation for the organization work of eradication superstition in the world also. After the gruesome murder of Dr. Narendra Dabholkar on 20th August 2013 in Pune, a successful attempt was made to face the challenging situation as the leader of the organization. On the one hand, I had the responsibility of being in constant contact with the investigating agencies in the investigation of murder of Dr. Narendra Dabholkar, and it was also a race to pass the superstition law in our state, Maharashtra. Apart from that, after losing the leader and the face, the organization needed to work and be dynamic to stand up as an organization with new vigor after recovering workers' families. It is a satisfaction that after successful facing of all these races and efforts has been made to create sensitivity, awareness, and commitment in the minds of the people about it. And that's why carry out some effective anti-superstition organizational work in outside Maharashtra state also, all over India also. On the national level of India, there is a FIRA, Federation of Indian Rationalist Association, is a coordination platform founded by veteran rationalist and humanist leader B. Premananda from South of state of India. And after him, Dr. Narendra Nayak from Karnataka State's Mangalore is the present president of that FIRA, Federation of Indian Rationalist Association. And more than around 100 organizations and groups of India are the member of this coordination platform FIRA. And I am also the ex-vice president of the FIRA, so that there is a good contact and coordination with the all over India, different states, more than 25 states. There is a good communication for the work of eradication of superstition and blind faith, the pioneer foundation in the our Maharashtra and other states also trying to uh, get the experience, voice and training from our colleagues. After the brutal murder of Dr. Narendra Davolkar, there is a challenges and there is a threats from the fundamentalist right-wing groups of India, and so that there is a threat to work for eradication of superstition, for rationality, for humanity also. So in the in this situation, challenging situation also, um, I lead the organization and my colleagues of organization activists of and their families also very well supports and progressive humanitarian uh, groups of India and political parties and NGOs of India are very well supported to our work organization and our scientific temperaments work. Now, Dr. Davolkar's brutal murder day, 20th August, we are celebrating as a scientific temper day, National Scientific Temper Day in India from 2017. So this way we are trying to address. And in Maharashtra, there is a first law, I think, in our India and all over globe also. We have able to enact by government of Maharashtra state, that is the anti-superstition and anti-black magic, that is called in our local language in Marathi Jadu Tona Virodhi Kaida. That is a landmark law enacted in Maharashtra, and then after our we are demanding to pass this law in central government also, and trying to enact this law in other states of our country India, around 10 12 west. After Maharashtra, there is a beside states, that is the Karnataka states also passed the bill. From Africa region, the Uganda nations, governments and their NGOs are search for the issue, the law against the sacrifice of
Mm.
childs. There is a issue of child sacrifice in Uganda, and they are trying to eradicate that issue or addressing by awareness and orientation, but they have don't get the response for it, so that they are searching on internet that where is the that type of law enacted all over globe. When they have get contact to me and talk with me, communicate with me, they are invited me to uh, come in Uganda and address the all people's representative and government associates about the law against the superstition and
Mm.
against the human sacrifice. But we are not possible to reach to there, go there, Uganda. So we have guide them, give the drafted
Mm.
a copy of the law against the child sacrifice. And before just 2 years ago, the Uganda government has enacted that law against the child sacrifice.
Mm.
So, like that, all over globe, there is a pioneer work we have done in from last 35 years, and as an organization working for eradication of superstition and blind faith with inculcating scientific temperament, we are the pioneer organization of world to so there is a so contacts from all over India and all over na- different nations. United Nations also passed the resolution to guide all our countries to
Mm.
make the laws against the superstition, blind faith, because superstition and blind faith are the hurdle in the development of human society. And to eradicate that superstition and blind faith, the nation's governments have a responsibility. As a welfare state, they have responsibility to eradicate the superstition, and they have to take initiative to enact law, awareness campaign,
Mm.
plan for welfare schemes to set up mind of peoples and society for um, inculcating scientific temperament. Like that, we are going and to work for the eradication of superstition from last 35 years.
Yes, I may ask a question here, Mr. Anvash Patil, and I want to thank you so much for explaining so ably the work you are doing. You have taken us through your background and, of course, how you end up working with MANS, and, of course,
Yeah,
how you are also a vice president of FIRA. Now, you talked
yeah.
about Uganda and superstition, and, of course, child sacrifice. I heard you talking about that. I'm from Uganda, and of course, these are the issues that we
Oh,
tackle in Uganda. Yes, I'm a Ugandan.
yes.
I'm a Ugandan,
Oh, yeah.
and of course,
That's a great.
yeah, you talked about Uganda. You didn't know that I'm a Ugandan, but yes, I'm a Ugandan. You were talking with Brian Kabeko. Brian Kabeko is a Kenyan, and
Yeah,
Africa has so much in common with India. And of course, I should tell you
yeah,
that there are so many Indians in Africa, but especially there are so
yeah,
many Indians in East Africa. There are Indians in Uganda and in Kenya. And of course, we always
yeah,
interact with Indians. We love your culture as Indians. Now, there are issues which are in India, specifically for India. Uh,
yeah,
I will say specifically, but not specifically really. But issues to do with, say, for example, issues of the caste system, issues
yeah,
of the caste system, issues of the Dalits, the untouchability, and all that. India is
yeah,
the only country I know that is so big with 1 billion people, but also with so many gods and superstitions. When you talk about
yeah,
gods, the master of gods is India, because in India,
yeah,
almost everything is a god apart from the human being. You have the snakes, you have the animals, you have the mountains, you have all these images,
yeah,
all these are gods, the cows, the whatever, all these are gods. Now, me, I'm very interested in knowing what does the organization do to promote rationalism, because this is critical
yeah,
thinking. This is changing the mindset of the people in India. People who are so divided by the caste system, people who are so divided by the religions, that are so many in India.
yeah,
What motivated
yeah,
you to start this organization? And therefore, what do we do? What do you do as an organization in India in promoting rationalism? What exactly do you do, and how do you do it?
yeah. That is correct. That some similarities in Africa and India, as a country and as a region also. We both are developing countries. and we have facing some common problems also, that is poverty and the unemployment, the addiction issues in youth. There is a human relations issues, and also also
mm,
the suppressed by governments, and uh, there is a fundamentalist ideological groups are taking right, doing rights. So these are the common issues all over the world and in Africa and India also. But Indian society is a caste-based society, not a religion-based society. So that there is a discrimination in caste, and upper caste suppress the lower caste, and lower caste suppress the on and more than the the caste of them. So there is a discrimination on the basis of birth caste gifted them, and against that discrimination in India, there is so many guys that is from sons. There is a religious reformers, and after in developed India, there is a social reformers, freedom fighters who are working for the independence of the Indian country, also work for it to eradicate that caste-based exploitation and suppression and discrimination. But there is a issue nowadays also. Uh, in some manner, due to education, due to health services, due to some employment, uh, there is some release in the caste system and discrimination. And there, you have mentioned that is untouchability is also there. And untouchability is issue in last 70, 60 is more effective after independence in India in 1947 and 1950. We have run our country India on the basis of Indian Constitution, and Indian Constitution is very powerful documents, uh, very visionary documents for not only for guiding Indian, but all over globe also, all over humanity also, all worldwide nations also. So in that on that basis of that Indian Constitution values and all facilities they are given, one vote, one man, one vote. All persons, poor or all persons, educated or non-educated, urban or rural, all are equal on behalf of the law of constitution. This is the power of Indian constitution, and this due to this power, Indian citizens, Indian all persons are trying to face this untouchability, the discrimination on the basis of caste, and the suppression, and the uh, on the basis of religion also. There is a issue of religious rights also in India also. And some political ideological representative parties and groups and organizations are using this religious ideology, religious, to uh, disturb the community, society, and part them different and trying to rule on the basis of religion, religious faith, religious beliefs. That is very dangerous, and that is very against the values of Indian Constitution. So we progressive, rationalist, humanist peoples, groups, and organizations are facing these challenges nowadays also. And for that, we have yeah, involved in the against the different activities, awareness campaigns, and training and orientations, creating different type of literatures using media, social media, and all different types of media to aware common man and
Yes,
to
yes, the network sometimes disturbs us. You excuse us as we continue with Mr. Anivash Patil from India is explaining the issues of caste. Remember, the issues of untouchability in India is a big issue where people are divided along the caste system. Certain people are supposed to be doing certain kind of work or not be doing certain kind of works. That is the caste system in India. The issues of untouchability, the issues of discrimination, and so much more in this lovely country in India. And of course, our colleague Kevin Sadhana, our senior colleague, and of course, senior member at HTV, is having something to say. It says not to say Indian activist on Humanist TV Africa. Yes, Mr. Kevin Sadhana, it is nice to have our Indian colleagues featuring on Humanist TV Africa. Here we are. Today we host Mr. Avinash Patil, who is the state president of MANS, which is an Indian rationalist association. And this gentleman has been doing this work for the last 35 years. What an incredible kind of work Mr. Anivash Patil has been doing. And of course, apart from that, is also the vice president of FIRA, which is also another association of free thinkers and rationalists of India. So Mr. Anivash Patil is really doing a great kind of work in India. We are having him here right on the TV, and he's explained to us what he does in India. He has a big team. Remember, is a state president of this organization. His name is Anivash. No, it's Avinash. I'm very sorry. Is Avinash Patil. The name is Avinash Patil and is based right in India. So, Mr. Avinash Patil, we are here, and of course, sometimes remember the network challenges here and there, but we are with you, and here we
yeah,
are listening to you telling us what MANs do and what FILA do. These are two organizations that you are a leader, and then you are doing things to do with scientific activism, things to do with
yeah,
advocacy, things to do with
yeah,
empowerment of people in India. Remember, India is populous. India has all these caste systems. India has all these religious people. And here we are with Indians like you doing this great work. And for the last 35 years, this is incredible. I have to thank you so much for the work we are doing now. Tell us, Mr. Avinash Patil, exactly how have you been advocating for change of mindset? How do you do it? Do you organize workshops? Do you go village to village? Do you go to schools?
yeah,
Exactly what do you do to take your message to the people?
yeah. That is
Mm.
correct. Kobo Kato Mukasa is saying that that is we are as a Indian rationalist and humanist activist and organization. We are trying to aware people's common man against the superstition and blind faith on the God and religion.
Yeah, issues of blind faith, issues of addressing the common man concerns in India. These are issues which Mr. Avinash Patil handles in India. Remember, you still have a bit of challenges with the network. This is a live show. We are live. We are not recorded. This show is live. So sometimes we are affected by the internet going off here and there. Remember, we are in different countries at the moment. I'm based here in the UK. Our producers are in East Africa, and our guest is in India. You can imagine all these continents are connecting Asia, Africa, and Europe in one show. Now, this is Humanist TV Africa, and our guest today is Mr. Avinash Patil, the state president of MANS, which is an association for rationalists and free thinkers, and of course humanists in India, but also is a vice president of FIRA, which is another association of free thinkers and, of course, rationalists in India. So, Mr. Avinash Patil, please may you continue to share with us what exactly
Yeah,
you do to take the message to the people.
yeah, yeah. Sorry for interrupting due to internet connectivity, but
Mm,
I'm saying that we are, as an Indian, following the Indian Constitution, this kind of role we have been working as an organization and also as humanitarian and conscientious workers. Uh, I'm we as an organization, as individual from last 35 years, we are working to aware the people, literate the peoples about the scientific temperament, what is the science, what is the cause and effect relationship, and how each thing we can discover on the basis of cause and effect relationship in nature. And scientific temperament is the part and lifestyle need to get the lifestyle of the human being. And if we accept the lifestyle of scientific attitude, we'll free getting the free man of free mind. We are not on the we are, no one will suppress us, no one will discriminate us, no one will on the basis of religion or god on anything will discriminate us. So this is the thing. I'm interested in working in the collective organizational work with a democratic republican ideology in a decentralized manners. In fact, I also insist on it. I'm working as a social activist with some political ideology, and my interest is in organizing people in that sense. On we are going to school in rural areas, in local group. We are interacting with students. We are taking arrange the training of teachers and from primary to higher secondary to university lit- and scientists. We are in also interesting interacting with scientists also. We are associated with uh, the experts work in mental health, psychiatrists, psychologists also associated with us to uh, debunk the uh, ideology about the or claims about the ghost. And also we are debunking so many governments in our states and all over India. Also our like-minded groups working for debunking the governments. They are claiming the different type of miracles. Our activities and myself also uh, presenting the miracles, science behind the miracles demo, and it is very much popular in rural and urban, uneducated and educated, poor and all type of persons. The presentation of science behind miracle demonstration is very much popular. So that program is the entry point of awareing people, different communities and different groups of peoples. So like that we are planning campaign on different type of topics and issues raised in society time by time. We are above very much that why it's possible to work in a very sensitive subject areas like eradication superstition and going to the people, talking to the people, taking the people in confidence with the participation of the people, working for the people and on behalf of the people is the strength of a democratic republic system. And I strongly believe that only through this can people's pressure uh, act as a pressure group and create people oriented policies, laws. laws, regulations, and welfare schemes also. So, like on this style of working, we are trying to inculcate scientific temperament in our Indian society.
Yeah,
Yes,
quite very impressive, Mr. Avinash Patil. I want to add something there. I was very interested when you said scientific, you called it a scientific inquiry, and you also talked about
yeah,
science versus miracles.
yeah,
Science versus miracles. I'm a lawyer, so I'm using the word versus miracles from what you said. Now, I'm interested because India, just like Africa, we are very religious. If I was to say
yeah,
the most religious countries in the world, it must be India, and then Africa is not a country, but also many African countries. We are extremely religious, but also India is known for religiosity. Now, I'm interested how you are debunking these mythologies, how you are debunking these superstitions, because we talked about going to schools. Talked about universities, you talked about using television, and of course, debunking these theories, debunking superstition, what I called miracles versus science, superstition
yeah,
versus science. Now, what do you do? Because I used to watch programs by rationalists in India where they would go and visit a village and
yeah,
show people, for example, show people a magician doing something, and then they come
yeah,
back and show you, look, it was not real, it was magic. They handle issues to do with astrology because we have so many
yeah,
astrologists in India. I've been watching
yeah,
programs of Babu Goginen. If you know Babu
yeah,
Goginen, Babu
yeah,
Goginen
yeah,
was my colleague at Humanist International. Babu Goginen, of course, is my senior, has been at it for over 35 years, just like you. Babu is known, an Indian humanist and rationalist known for debunking stupidity in India. He has a TV station and all that. Babu and Indian humanists are great. I normally say that Indian humanists and rationalists are doing more than all other humanists in terms of debunking mythology. In fact, India, when it comes to humanism, India is far
yeah,
ahead than Europe. India is far ahead than the US. India is far, far ahead than Africa. Why? You have been at it for so many years, for hundreds, I think over 100 years. Indian humanists and rationalists have been doing great work. But sometimes we don't celebrate you. But the fact is that Indians have been doing great work in terms of humanism and rationalism. Tell us, Mr. Avinash Patil, how do you handle the issue of scientific inquiry as you debunk mythology? Because I see these programs of you going to school and then create a mythology, create a superstition, then you debunk it, what I'm calling science versus miracle. How do you organize this kind of
yeah,
workshops?
yeah. Correct. There is so many claims by so-called godmans in India and all
Yeah,
over the world also. They are claiming the miracles, and there is a ideology behind that. There is a spiritual and a God's representation uh, going to um, welfare the common man, and the God man claiming that we are the representation representing the God, the divine power, and so we have a strength to do miracles, and through miracles peoples are attracting to God man, and God man is going to practice for that. So we are trying to aware common man that don't get part and parcel of that fraudulent godmans, and um, don't get the suffer of the that miracles claim. So we are debunking that godmans also. Thousands of godmans we are debunking in last 35 years. And there is a varieties of governments. There is a different type of governments, and more than 50% that governments are culprits. There are murderers, there are addictions, they have addictions in their life, they have some i- inhuman behavior, some mental health problem in their life. So they don't have good education, they don't have good human being, and so they are coming to practice as a godman, because to become a godman and as a godman business, there is no any contribution needed, because common man's beliefs support them, and they common man give them money, respect, all type of supports, and also uh, they feeling that godman is the part and parcel representative of the uh, divine power. So when we challenge that their miracles, their godmans, and debunking that godman, there is a very much risk there. We are going to rural areas, we are getting complaints about the exploitation from the governments, and so we reach there, we take the uh, all details, backgrounds of the government, the claims by them about the miracles. We will take all that. We send our some activists as a bogus customer to Godman, and so we will record all these things that he has claiming on their complaint, about the complaints uh, put there in front of that Godman, and after that we investigate, we get Reiki of that Godman, and we investigate the science behind that miracles, science behind that claim of Godman, cause and effect relationship against the about the claims of from that government, and we will aware peoples. We will give challenge to the that government. We have a 21 lakh rupees of Indian rupees as a prize to prove the claim of miracles by government, and no one person from last 30 years has claimed and proved that their miracles claim. So that way we are challenging the government. And second type, we are going to aware common man, women, and poor peoples, farmers, students. For that, we are arrange the public meetings, discussions, training programs, poster exhibitions, essay writing competitions, street play presentations, some songs and demonstrations of a different type of acts to aware and propagate the scientific temperament, to learn people about the science behind miracles, to learn people the cause and effect relation, that type. And we have well trained activists, our activists from last some years, some 3 decades, are experienced to handle these government issues, to challenge the miracles claim, and so that there is a people's mentality. If there is any issue of miracles happened, people's and government authorities and all type of media persons are approached to activists of rationalist activists of our organization to solve this issue, to define the claim of miracles, to debunk the that exploiting fraudulent godman and his society. So that
Yeah.
way we are working from last 35 years, and slowly but steadily awareness is creating in people's, but there is not enough to work by our organization or humanist and rationalist activists. That is not enough to reform the society, to reform the human being. For that, there is a responsibility of ruling government, political leadership, government authorities of administrative, all type of media, all type of literature and aware people's groups and NGOs to stand for propagating scientific temperament, educating peoples about the human values, about the rationality, about the scientific temperament, and through that only the human being, human community, human society will become scientific attitude
Thank you
as
so
a
much, sir.
lifestyle.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much, sir. I have enjoyed everything. Now, I'm going to summarize what you have taught me today. Remember, I'm a student when I'm on this interview. Now, you have helped me learn, and I want to share what I've learned from you with the audience. But before I do that, I want to say that to be able to follow Mr. Avinash Patil, Mr. Brian Kabeko, our program producer, was showing you the handle Federation of Indian Rationalist Association. Brian, may you please give us that? This is the Federation of Indian Rationalist Association. And of course, you can see the Twitter handle there. You can see the email there. And of course, you can see everything on your screen. Please, if you want to get in touch with Mr. Avinash Patil, is the Vice President of the Federation of Indian Rationalist Association, and there is the handle FIRA 2018, and of course info at FIRA.organization.in, and of course that is FRA at organization.in. Here you will be able to reach out to Mr. Avinash Patil. Now, Brian, back to you, and of course back to the studio. Now, Mr. Avinash, you have said something which has interested me, but also I've been following it. I'm going to quote you from your own words. You said that it is easier to become a god man in India because you don't need any education. You simply need to make a claim. It is easier to become a good man in India because you don't need to have any education. You simply make a claim. Now, the good men of India, you're talking about, we have the good men of Africa, the good men of Uganda, the good men of Kenya, the good men of Malawi, the good men of Zambia, Nigeria, Ghana, so many hopeless good men in Africa. They simply wake up and say, God has appointed me. I have the powers now. But I also learned from you. You said that debunking them, you do investigations. I want people to learn from this show because I learned from it. You said you do investigations and you inquire from people who are having complaints. I was
yeah,
listening to you carefully. People who have complaints about the God men. Now, people in Africa, if you want to understand the God men, look at your pastors. Those are the God men. Look at your people in the shrines. Those are the God men. Your reverends, your imams. Those are the God men. People claiming to have extraordinary powers. People claiming to have miracle-making powers. Those are the God men of Africa. Now, Mr. Avinash Patil said that number one, they investigate these claims. Number two, they record claims, complaints from these people, but also they record the miracles being performed. Number three, you say that you try to find out the cause and effect, the cause of these claims and the effect of these claims. That's why you said when you get these complaints, then you look at the science behind the claims. This was very good. I was listening carefully. Then you said, having got all that research, then you launch this scientific temperament inquiry, and then you have these public meetings, you have these exhibitions, you have these stage plays, you have these essay writing songs, and you expose what the God man claims. Now, to me, this is superb. And I wish humans in Africa can copy this. Someone is making a claim that is healing HIV. Someone is making a claim that is healing lame people. Investigate. Investigate. Go and find out who was being healed. Where do they stay? Did they heal? You are going to find out the facts. Then come back, having recorded this kind of evidence, look at what was stage managed and expose it. This is what Mr. Avinash Patil has taught us today through what he has called the scientific temperament. And I'm really grateful to this, that you have actually taught us how you do your work. You investigate. You find out the science behind these claims. Then you go ahead and find out the cause and effect. Then you go ahead and stage whatever they have been acting and then expose it to the society. This is the best way to go about it. If people in Africa could copy this method you are doing, to go deeper, research, investigate, find out the claims. People have been hurt by the effects of these guys. I'm sure in Africa would have been exposing good men as you do in India. I want to ask you a few closing questions because we have 4 minutes to go, and I have to promise you that we are going to get you back on this studio. Episode number 2, we shall get you back when you have time. Perhaps after next week, we shall get you back and tell us more about India and rationalism in India. But as we part, as we leave for today, may you please tell us, for example, how many members do you have in your organization, and how do you get these members? Do they pay membership fee? How do you keep your members alive? How do you keep your work alive? Because we have been at it for 35 years. That is incredible. People began organizations and in 5 years they have failed. In 1 year they have failed. How do you manage to have an organization for 35 years? That's incredible.
Yeah, correct. There is a
Mm.
very difficult to gather the peoples and like-minded peoples to organize, uh, trained, and systematically operate as a group and localized group. And we have an organization in our Maharashtra. There is our Indian population is 1.14 billion nowadays, and India is the uh, biggest population country in the world now. And in our India, there is a Maharashtra state is a progressive following ideological state, and we have a 13 lakh 1.3 million population in our state, and we have around 36 districts, and we have our activists of our organization is more than 10,000. We have more than 350 branches in our 36 districts of Maharashtra state, and more than 13,000 activists. We have from local branch to district branch to regional and state level uh, committee of organizations, and some activists are full-time social activists. They are not earning money. They are supported by their family and community. Uh, People are donating us money, giving advertisements for our magazine, monthly magazine. We have publishing monthly magazines, and we have publishing some books also. So nowadays we are running our all social medias group also, and like that, this style of working, mm, we are operating as an organization from, and we are trying to correct after by our experience. We are getting hurdles also. We are getting challenges. We don't have some any security publicly, but our group is and activists are very well experienced to handle the mass media community, and so very on sensitive um, field of work for to eradicate superstition against the blind faith, challenging miracles, debunking godmans is a very sensitive field. But we are from last 35 years around uh, trying to go ahead and ahead and strengthening our ideology, strengthening our organization, strengthening our activities and our activists also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, Mr. Avinash Patil. That's quite interesting. Talking about magazines and all the work you are doing. Now, our show has come to an end. It has been a very interesting show. 1 hour can be so short, but I want to request you to accept being hosted for episode 2. We are going to get you back when you have the time for our second part of this interview. But in that interview, I want to encourage you, if you have some videos, I do think you have some videos from the work we have been
Yeah,
doing of tackling God men, fake miracles. I want you to consider next show to share with our producer some of these videos you have captured, some of these images you have captured, and then we
def-
show them to the public, because trust me,
definitely.
India is going to motivate Africa. Indian humanism is going to motivate African humanism.
Sure.
Because trust me, India is ahead of people in Africa in terms of organized humanism. I always say India has been ahead of us for over 100 years. India has been having rationalists for over 100 years. People don't speak this, but it's a fact. Indians have been ahead of Europeans. Indians have been ahead of Americans when it comes to rationalism and humanism. You have been ahead. So I want us to tap into your knowledge as Indian rationalists. What have you done well so that our people in Africa, especially, can learn from India? Here is a comment from Isaac M. Supu from Liberia. Says, I am following very closely. This platform is a great platform, and I applaud the work you guys do. Thank you so much from Liberia. And of course, Southern Kevin, who is in Canada, also sent you greetings. And also, this is JW says, great interview. Thank you so much. They are grateful that we have been able to feature here. And of course, Kelvin Sadhana says, nice to see Indian activists on Humanist TV Africa. Now, as we conclude, Mr. Avinash Patil, give us your parting shot, your concluding word today. Conclude with your own word today, and then promise us to come back for episode 2. We shall have you back for episode 2. Now, for now, please conclude. Give us your parting shot, your concluding remarks for today.
Yeah, I'm while closing then concluding this interview, I'm just appealing to aware the youth community of globe in Africa and also India because India have a biggest youth population in world nowadays. In 2020-30, 2030 we have a biggest youth population in world in India of older. So we have a challenge to manage this youth, how to utilize their strength for developing humanity and all type of our lifestyle. So there is a challenges on in front of youth population. There's the addiction is the major issue. Not only addiction about the liquor, tobacco, or in drugs, different type of drugs. The screen addiction also the challenge uh, in front of the, and so there is a mental health issues due to
Mm.
that addiction also. There is a human relation issues due to that addiction also. There is a uh, progress in different type of cruelty promoted by advertisements and all types of medias in cinemas and all type of cultural activities also. That is also the challenge in front of our youth and next generation. So we have to how we tackle, how we handle, how we uh, inculcate scientific temper in this youth community on our future of our globe, of our country, of our humanity is depend on it. So I'm very much aware, worried about this, how we interact with youth population, our country, in our country and all over globe, and how our political leadership, government authorities, administrations, media, medical fields, industrialists are approach and handle the youth community on the that basis. That is, I am appeal to all rationalists, humanists, atheists, and agnostic, all type of ideology of rationalism to work for aware and trained youth community, give our focus to interact with them and literate them to inculcate scientific temperament, scientific attitude in their life. This is my closing appeal. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you, sir, Mr. Avinash Patil, for being part of us today. And I want to encourage you to be part of us in the first week of February. We are going to be having Mr. Avinash Patil again for yet another episode. It has been wonderful listening from a great person in India, doing great work in India. We want to encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Humanist TV Africa, but also our Facebook page having the same name, Humanist TV Africa. But please also write to us, send us an email at info@humanisttvafrica.com, or write to us directly through WhatsApp. The number is plus 254 447 254 74 7376767. Thank you so much for being part of us. It has been great having all of you here on the set. Thank you, Brian Kabeko in Kenya, for doing the production, and the entire team. Thank you so much, our viewers, and all those that have commented. We are grateful that have been part of us. See you in the next one.